Hey everybody, Chef Danny again here at the North American Pizza and Culinary Academy. I'm going to show you how to build a Chicago Tavern Style Pizza. So we're going to do this for the residential cook. One thing I recommend is that you get a straight, non-tapered rolling pin, because that gives an even thickness throughout the pizza, and that's what we're looking for on this style. This would be a French tapered. As you can see, it gets a little bit thinner at the ends. Now, if you're rolling with this, you're gonna get a thin spot in the middle of your pizza, and then that's probably where it's going to tear or stick and not be very good to eat. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out one of our Chicago dough balls from the other day. Now, we took these and we balled them up, and they've had a little bit of time to rest. Cut them out of the dough box, nice and easy. Okay, just like that. We're gonna put it right on in there. Okay, now we don't want a ton of flour. We can always add more flour. So I just dusted it lightly. I'm gonna take my fingers and I'm gonna flatten it out evenly. Now, my flat rolling pin, my straight rolling pin. I'm gonna start in the middle. I'm gonna push out and go over the edge, go back to the middle, and pull back, okay? Now I did that, I'm gonna turn it 90 degrees, and I'm gonna repeat. And I'm doing this because this is what's gonna give me an even thickness from crust to crust. Okay, as you can see, it's still a little cold, so the dough's fighting. The more I work it, the bigger it's gonna get. And if I need to, I can let it sit for a minute, warm up. The glutens are gonna relax and it's gonna stretch a little bit better. But for now, you guys are gonna see me, and it doesn't have to be perfectly round, because guess what? We're gonna use the actual restaurant trick of making a shape and cutting it out. Okay. So if the dough starts to stick, we've got a little bit more flour. We'll make sure that the crust is bigger than we want. Now, the thickness is up to you. If you want a little bit more chewier crust and you want it to be a little bit softer, make it a little bit thicker. If you want that more cracker crust, you want to go a little more on the thinner side. Okay. See, dough's starting to warm up, sticking a little bit there, no big deal. Okay. Now a lot of people need to realize your dough will move. You don't need to be rolling like this, rolling like this. You're gonna be very tired after a few pizzas. So we got our dough ball nice and stretched out. Make sure that it's not gonna pull back on me too much. Oh, need to go a little bit bigger. All right, so I've got that. Take this, take a dough cutter, and voila. We're gonna cut off the excess. Now in most pizzeria restaurants, they're gonna take this little bit of scrap, they're gonna ball it back up, and they're gonna throw it in with the rest of their dough, and then they can run it back through the sheeter. At home, probably just throw it away, okay? So, took my mold off. Next thing I'm gonna do, put a little bit of semolina down, lift up, lay that pizza right there on there. For Chicago, we want it to stay thin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take a fork, we're just gonna dock this dough a little bit. And this is gonna keep the two edges from blowing up and giving you giant bubbles. But it also gives space for the sauce to leak through. So we want to be quick when we're putting our sauce on so that we don't get any moisture on the bottom and then it'll stick to our peel. Okay, good there. I've got our nice, simply prepared tomato sauce. I'm gonna start with 1, 2, maybe 3, okay? So, go around the edge. That tomato paste that we put in there, when it bakes at a lower temperature for longer, you're gonna evaporate off a lot of that moisture, and it's gonna concentrate that flavor. And because it's already double concentrated, it's got a higher sugar level. So you get that really nice, crispy, sweet corner piece that everyone always steals right off the bat. That's what you're gonna get. Now we don't wanna go crazy with the sauce. We wanna leave at least about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Okay, but not too much. Too much sauce, and then all the toppings are gonna fall off. And here we got just some good mixed whole milk mozzarella and part skim, both low moisture. And I'm going to cover this. Here's the tricky part. Try to keep the cheese on the pizza and not on the peel. Okay. All right, so I got a nice, fairly evenly coated pizza. Give it a little shake, make sure it works. Brush off the excess cheese so that it doesn't go in the oven and burn. Now, I've dropped the temperature of my oven to 450 degrees. We want a longer cook so we evaporate all that flavor, that moisture off, and we get a crispier pizza. I'm gonna go into the bottom, right here, and then we're gonna put it in, close it. We're gonna let that bake for about 10 to 15 minutes until golden brown and nice and crispy. All right, so our pizza's been in for a little bit. We're gonna take a look at it. So we look, I haven't touched yet. We got nice golden color. I wanna look at the bottom. See, I got a little cheese. Bottom's a little white, so I'm gonna pick it up here. We're gonna slide that right onto our second stone. It's gonna get a little more direct heat. I wanna see a lot more golden color on that crust, but about 2 or 3 more minutes and we'll be ready to go. Moment of truth. So, pull out my pizza. Perfectly golden brown. Slide it right there. True test. Take a look. Okay. Now, nice golden brown on the bottom. It's strong enough for me to hold it up with one finger. Now, we're gonna cut it. And none of that pie cut stuff they do in New York. This is Chicago, we do square cut. So, cut it there. Cut it there. Okay. Extra crispy, cracker crust. So, now I'm gonna show you. You take a look at that, get a close up. You see how nice and cracker-like that is? That gives you the strength, that gives you the crispiness. Now, I'll put that one back, but this is always the first piece to go in my house, is that corner, because that tomato sauce gets a little bit reduced down, extra sweet, still crunchy. That's a pretty good pizza.